Now in this video, the first thing we should do is we should connect to the database and create a database for our CRUD operation application. So for that, first we have to define our connection string, and connection strings will be defined inside the appsettings.json file. So right here, before logging, let me make some space and we will define connection strings. And since this is a JSON format, so we'll keep it like that. And we will define a default connection here. So here I will just define my connection string. The server I have is localDB and MS SQL localDB. So this is the default SQL server that everyone have, but if you have installed using something else, you can go ahead and include that here. Then we have the database name, and I want to call this CRUD underscore razor underscore 2 underscore 1. Then I have the trusted connection, and this I will set it to true. And I have the multiple active result set, and I'll set this to true as well. This should be plural, and this looks good for our connection string. So let's save this. Let's close the appsettings.json file. And then we have to consume this connection string inside our startup.cs configure services. So right here, what we'll do is we'll say services.addDBContext. And what is the DB context? This will be an application DB context class file which we have to create. So in order to create that, let's do a right click, add a new folder, and let's add a folder for models. Now inside this folder, let's create a class file, and I'll call this application DB context. Now this file should extend the DB context. We'll do a control dot here to include Entity Framework Core. And then we need to implement its constructor. So we'll do CTOR application DB context. Now CTOR was a snippet by ASP.NET Core team. So if you type CTOR and press tab twice, it creates the constructor. And here what we have to pass is DB context options, and inside here we'll pass the application DB context and options, and then it should extend the base, and we'll say options again. So this is the basic constructor syntax. So let's save this, and now let's consume this application DB context in the add DB context right here. We'll have to do a control dot to include the data folder. There we go. And here we'll define few options for the service. So we can say options goes to options.useSQL server, because that's what we want to use. We'll have to add the reference for that. We'll do a control dot Entity Framework Core, and then we need to pass the connection string here. So we'll use configuration dot get connection string, and right here we'll pass default connection. And let's close this. So with this, we have added the database connectivity for our SQL server. So that way, if we create a new database called as CRUD razor 2 underscore 1 will be created. Now how do we create that? Let's take a look at that in the next video.